Alrighty then, Khora Prime, a Warframe that I've actually been looking forward to very much because I'm actually a big fan of Khora. So let's talk a little bit about the build that I ended up running. Now personally, I'm not big into Strangledome, so I don't usually incorporate it into my builds, but if you'd like to see a Strangledome build for Khora, please let me know in the comment section down below. I usually just build her for whipping things real good. So here's the build that I ended up liking the most, and it only sent me back one forma, which was for the aura. I put in an aura forma, but it could also reformat it into a so you can fit in Steel Charge. And Steel Charge is definitely one of the better auras that you can run here, but you can get away with using pretty much anything. And for the Exiles, I'm running Potassium because I actually like the increased aim glide time. Then I'm running Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify, both of which are one rank from the top, which generally makes them easier to insert into builds, and this gives me a ton of health and strength. Next on the menu, we have Accumulating Whipclaw, which is a augment for Whipclaw, surprisingly enough, and this gives you just a straight up idiotic amount of damage for Whipclaw. It's just really good. Then I like to run Hunter Adrenaline, so I generate energy as I take damage to health, and this basically supplies me with all the energy I need. After that, I like to run Ogre Reach and Stretch so that the crack on the Whipclaw covers a pretty large area. Then I have Fleeting Expertise that's maxed out for a ton of efficiency, and I topped it off with Steel Fiber for a bunch of armor. Now, Whipclaw is one of the few abilities that still uses a stat stick, so it will look at your melee weapon and use some of the mods that you put on there, and for Whipclaw in particular, you want to put on the stance for the capacity. Then you want to run Primed Pressure Point for melee damage, Blood Rush for the scaling crit, Weeping Wounds for scaling status, and Organ Chatter for crit damage. Then if you have a Riven with either melee damage, elemental damage, slash damage, or critical damage, you want to put that in as well. If you're not running Nadamon, you want to put in some kind of combo duration, Gladiator Rush being the best, and then I'm topping it off with Primed Fever Strike, which combines with the Cold from the Riven into Viral, and I'm running Buzzkill to get even more slash. Now if you don't have a Riven for your stat sig, which I assume most of you won't, just put in a cold damage mod so that it combines with the Toxin from Primed Fever Strike into Viral. And finally we have Venari, where I don't even have a full mod setup because I can't think of a single mod that would be worth the 2 or 3 format that I would have to put on to fit it in. Because the thing about Venari is that you most likely already have all the utility mods on your actual companion, so you put on some damage and Viral and that kind of stuff, and that's it. Now this build is very simple to play. You simply chain all the enemies together with Ensnare and then you whip them real good. The end. This produces some of the highest damage in the game, especially if you get a little bit lucky and you proc slash on the enemies, because at that point it doesn't even matter what kind of enemy they are, because the only thing they are going to be is the EAD dead. This is still one of my favorite builds in the game. It's simple, it's effective, and it's fun. It actually used to be my go-to setup for farming Elite Sanctuary Onslaught when I was still farming it. It is just very good, and I would highly recommend you at least try it out. Just make sure you have at least a decent setup on your stat stick, because it makes a huge difference. Also, if you really end up liking this setup and you want to invest into it even more, the best way to do so is to actually go with Umbral Fiber, which is going to require either an Umbra forma or more regular forma, but that will give you more health, more armor, and even more damage because you get more strength. It's something that I'm actually considering myself because I know it's really good, because I already did it on the standard Khora and it was absolutely fantastic. But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. It's just a really solid, simple setup that does a ton of damage and is a lot of fun to use. So as always guys, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.